Ready? Go ahead and call the meeting to order for regular meeting of Bardstown City Council, August 22nd. Need to announce that we'll be going into executive session pursuant to KRS 61.810. 1C, discussions of proposed or pending litigation involving a public agency. We'll be doing that at the end of the meeting. We'll go through the regular meeting agenda first, and then go into executive session at the end of this meeting. We're probably going to have to move around on the agenda a bit. We've got Jessica Villantro is at another meeting right now, as is Jan Johnston, and there's two items that each one of them need to be here for our discussion and possible votes. So I'll wait till they're here, excuse me, before we get into those items. Don't see if we don't have any groups or individuals. Any input from the public? Okay, then we'll go into item number 4, HRB recommendations. You've got your minutes and recommendations. We do know that we've got some council members that have to recuse themselves from a few of these item numbers. So, Tim, you want to?
Yeah, and we'll start. One, Councilman Kelly's going to need to recuse. It's COA 1761. It is COA 1761, Jim Beavers, applicant, John Kelly, owner, requests to install signage at 202 East Stephen Foster Avenue. The recommendation is approval to install the hanging sign on the existing pole at the front of the property. And if we could have an individual vote on that one, and on these others that are recusals.
Okay. The recommendation from HRB was approval of the sign submittal. Have a motion to approve application and recommendation.
I'll make a motion, Mr. Mayor. Approve COA on this page. 1760. COA 17-60.
A motion by Councilman Buckman. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second by Councilman Dones. Any other discussion? All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried.
And Councilman Buckman, if you would
Love to do it.
switch places with Councilman Kelly, that would be wonderful. One that we're looking at now is that Councilman Buckman is recusing on is COA 1751A amended. Joe Buckman, applicant, Michael Katz and Julie Talbot, owners, request to install landscaping in a pool at 202 South 3rd Street. Recommendation, approval to install the proposed landscaping with the following conditions. Conditions: after the pool is complete and the landscaping is complete, if the pool is not completely hidden from view from the street or alley, in every viewpoint, that the applicant will work with the preservation coordinator to change the design to make sure that the pool is completely hidden from view.
So they plan on concealing the pool, the bushes?
With landscaping, yes, sir.
And there will be a fence also, won't there?
Around the perimeter of the pool and most of the backyard.
Mayor, if I'm in order, I'd like to make a motion that we approve application COA 1751A with the conditions set forth by the Historical Review Board.
Okay, thank you. A motion by Councilman Williams. Do we have a second?
Second.
Second by Councilman Kelly. Any other discussion? All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried.
Councilman Dones' turn to go relieve Councilman Buckman.
We got a busy bunch of councilmen.
Yeah, some of these are a little bit far afield in terms of.
I'm not sure.
I guess it's because we don't pay them enough. They have another job.
We're dealing with COA 1762, Don Parrish, applicant, Archdiocese of Louisville, owner, request to remove trees at 310 West Stephen Foster Avenue. Recommendation approval to remove holly trees and one pine tree.
that's 1762, is that right?
Yes, sir.
And Mr. Dolan serves on the same committee as Don Parrish, who submitted this. That's
On
why
the
he's-
board, yes, sir.
That's why he's committed, recused himself. Okay, we have a motion then to approve the recommendation of COA 17-62.
If I may be in order, Mayor, I would recommend the approval of COA 17-62.
We have a motion from Councilman Shekels, and a second.
Second.
Second, Councilman Copeland. Any other discussion? All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried.
If someone can get Councilman Dolan, so there's
No, we'll leave it that range. There you go. That left you up there.
And just for the council's clarification here, COA 1768, the recommendation was denial, and so we don't take action on that to allow for an appeal. If the applicant wants to appeal, COA 1772 was tabled, and COA 1773 was tabled. So by my count, that would leave the following COAs that we will take in together. COA 1760, Mike and Amy Deaton, applicants' owners request to demolish a garage and shed at 108 East Broadway Street. Recommendation approval to demolish the two sheds at the rear of the property. COA 1763, Troy Dennison, applicant owner request to install fencing at the rear of the property at 112 North 3rd Street. Recommendation approval to install the proposed fence. COA 1776. That is one. No. The Troy Dennison install signs?
It's 6203.
Oh, there's two. Okay, well, COA 1776, Troy Dennison, applicant owner, request to install signs at 129 North 3rd Street. Recommendation approval to keep the signs with the following conditions. Condition that the applicant will remove the Moses Black off of the two windows and redesign the window size to say Bourbon Tavern, Bourbon Beer, and Wine in however format he chooses. He will resubmit that to the preservation coordinator for approval, and he would be allowed to keep both the hanging sign and the door sign. COA 1764, John and Patsy Cecil, applicants' owners, request to install new windows at 111 North 5th Street. Recommendation approval to install proposed signs. Windows. COA 1765, Edward C. Applicant owner requests to construct a screened patio at 111 West John Fitch Avenue. Recommendation approval to install the proposed screened-in back porch. COA 1766, Mrs. Kelsey Hamilton. Applicant owner requests to construct a garage addition, expand the driveway and walkway at 218 East Stephen Foster Avenue. Recommendation approval to install the proposed garage, expand the driveway and walkway as proposed. COA 1767, Fred and Pat Hagan, applicants' owners request to receive approval for an addition to 215 East Flagey Street. Recommendation approval of the proposed addition with all details submitted. COA 1769, Annette Filiatru, applicant owner request to install shutters at 215 South 5th Street. Recommendation approval to install shutters, it says shuttles, but shutters, with the following conditions. Conditions that the board and batten shutters with the tongue and groove and without the crossbar are approved for the basement windows only. Bluebird shutters are the only shutters approved for the main body of the house. Final color of the shutters will be staff approved. COA 1770, Annette Filiatru, applicant owner request to install lighting at 215 South 5th Street. Recommendation approval to install lighting with the following conditions. Conditions that there be one light on the front of the house between the large window and door, one on the corner with the pole on the Muir Street, and then one is approved beside the rear door on the back porch to match the other lighting. COA 1771, Annette Filiatru, applicant owner request to screen in a porch at 215 South Fifth Street. Recommendation approval to screen the back porch with the following conditions. Conditions that the approval is only to screen in the back porch and to repair the deck with the stairs with the same materials, design, and dimensions. COA 1774, Net Filiatri applicant owner requests to repair the brick and install a driveway at 215 South Fifth Street. Recommendation of approval to resurface only the existing driveway and to repair the walkway with matching materials. COA 1775, Net Filiatri applicant owner requests to replace the windows at 215 South Fifth Street. Recommendation: the window condition will be evaluated with the following conditions. Conditions that the final approval of the replacement of the windows be based on the recommendation of Frank Welch, and the preservation coordinator will give final approval on what should be done with the windows. I believe that's it.
I think we missed 1768.
1768 is entirely possible.
That was
Oh, that's a denial. That's the one that we wouldn't take up because that would allow her to appeal that. So 1768, 1772, and 1773 are not being considered. The last two were tabled, and the other one's a denial that we don't take up to allow for an appeal of that to the board, or to the council.
Then we have conditions on 69, 70, 71, 75, and 76. So
Yes, it would be, the motion would be to approve, and I don't have those, I don't think I have the complete list written down here, but to approve COA 1760, 61, 63, 76, 64, 65, 66, 67, 68, excuse me, not 68, 69, 70, 71, 74, and 75.
I think you said 1761, we've already, that's the one that John recused himself on. So
Okay.
it starts at 60,
60, 63.
60, 63.
Yes. No, 61.
65, 67.
12.
I believe so.
Let's try 12. 12 and
60, 63, 76,
64, 65, 66, 67, 69, 70, 71, 74, 75.
Yes.
So should we make the motion and approve those with the conditions?
As recommended, yes. If that's appropriate, if someone wants to make that motion.
All right. Mayor, if I'm in order, I'd like to make a motion that we approve the following COAs: 1760, 63, 76, 64, 65, 66, 67, 69, 70, 71, 74, and 75 with the conditions set forth by HRB.
Okay, the motion by Councilman Williams, have a second. Second by Councilman Buckman. Is there any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, motion carried. Okay, Jessica, since you're here, we passed you over originally, if you want to go over item number 3 for the water and sewer request for Peddler's Mall on Granite Drive.
Yes, that's basically a water extension for Granite Drive and the amendment and shifting of the existing platted Granite Drive to be realigned to accommodate the newly tracked parcel Peddler's Mall is going on. So really the only thing we need to approve is that we take in that water extension and the revised water street into our system upon meeting all required specifications, both local and state.
That water line is in the city right away.
Yes, a portion of it's in a general utility easement, and then a segment of it will be in the right of way. Right now, the water main stops at that intersection of the private road on Granite Drive. As you go back to the access drive that serves Colton's and Alhemador, the water main stops there. So this will allow that water line to be extended to the proposed cul-de-sac area in future tracks.
I was asking, that's an expense for you, the contractor or developer?
Yes.
To get the line.
It's just a request for us to incorporate it into our public system upon its completion.
Okay, recommendation that city's engineer is to accept this water extension, and sewer extension into our service area. Motion to approve.
So moved.
Is that Councilman Shekels? Second?
Second.
Second by Councilman Williams. Is there any other discussion or questions? Seeing none, all in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. I see you all came in a few minutes after. Were you here to speak to address the council? We've already
We just wanted to be here in case you had any questions.
Okay. All right. We'll go down then to, we're still waiting on Jan to get here for the DRB on Pleasant Greens Powerball. Greg, I guess we'll go to number 5, which is correspondence. There's a letter to the city council about the county employee retirement system, separation from the Kentucky retirement system. Greg, would you?
Thank you, Mayor. The resolution that has been proposed is where we're asking for the city council, the city of Bardstown, to support Senate Bill 226, which is the separation of CERS from the Kentucky retirement system. Senate Bill 226 was presented in this last session to the legislature, and the governor asked for it to be put on hold until they get the final report from PFM Group, which is doing a study on our retirement system. And as you can see on your iPads in the letter, CERS, which is the county employees retirement system, and all our employees fall under CERS, is a much more solvent system than KERS or SPRS. KERS is the Kentucky Employees Retirement System. That's for all the state employees. And SPRS is the state police retirement system. They are not as solvent as CERS. And there's going to have to be some pension reform in this special session that the governor's going to call before the end of the year. There's been a campaign to separate CERS from those two because CERS is solvent and they want to reform those two, but CERS needs to be left alone. Additionally, on July 12th, 2017, the Kentucky Retirement System Board of Directors lowered the assumption rates for CERS and KERS. They lowered CERS from 7.5 to 6.25, and they lowered our payroll growth from 4% to 2%.
But those percentages are the assumed income.
They're assumed
growth on it.
Growth, right. They're the assumed rate of return that the CERS is going to get. So that means that our contribution amounts are going to go up. And they're going to go, with that lowering of the assumption rates, they're going to go, our non-hazardous is going to go from 18% to 26%. And our hazardous is going to go from 31% to 44%. It's a 34% overall contribution rate increase. And it's going to come down to about $547,000 increase on our payroll starting next year with those assumed rates. If CERS separates, there will be a new board. And right now, there's a 17-person board on the Kentucky retirement system. and there's only 6 people on that board that represent CERS, even though CERS is 63% of the employees and 73% of the assets. There's only 6 people representing that board. We have 0% on the investment board. There's 0%, there's 0 people representing CERS on the Kentucky Retirement System Investment Board. The new board will be a 9-person board whose sole purpose is to represent CERS and its interests and the interests of its employees. 3 people will be the elected positions, and the other 6 people will be appointed by the League of Cities, the Association of the Counties, and the Kentucky School Board Association. Those 6 people will be appointed by them. And there's requirements that they have to be on that board. There's cities throughout the state right now have passed and adopted this resolution, from Florence, from Bowling Green, the city of Louisville, Radcliffe, Mount Sterling, Richmond, Lexington. I think Lexington's getting ready to pass the same resolution, all because their employees fall under CERS, and they fall under the same assumption rates. So if you're a large city like Louisville, with a lot of employees, then your contribution rates are going to go to what they are. It's millions of dollars for them, and it's $500,000 for us. So that's basically what it is. It's symbolic in nature to support Senate Bill 226 and the separation of CERS from the Kentucky Retirement System.
Greg, if Senate Bill 226 passes, this resolution goes through, what I've read, 61% of the contribution right now comes from CERS.
That's right.
What happens to KRS? If this
KERS.
KERS.
They'll have to do their pension reform. The legislature is going to have to address that at the special session coming up. KERS and SPRS, and the teachers also will have to be, their reform will have to be addressed by the legislature. I don't know what they're going to do, but I know that CERS is solvent. Our actuaries predict that CERS will be fully funded by 2045. We're on an upward projection, and the other ones are not. So lumping them in to the other retirement systems doesn't seem fair. When we've been funding our retirement system, the counties and the cities have been funding their employees' retirement system, and it's doing well, and the others are not.
The employer CERS contributions are mandated. The city can say, look, we're not going to put that in, and you have to put it in, whereas the state, on their part, they just budget whatever they want to put in, and it hasn't come up to the full funding like they're required. They're always required to see.
The state has not been funding. The state has not been funding it.
So in other words, just getting us off that sinking, so we can park from that sinking ship.
When I was on the KLC board, we've been talking about doing this for a long time, because when they mandated us, I guess it was 2008, I guess it was, the last time they mandated us to do this, and everybody, because it was a mandate, we had to do it. But the state, they just kind of loaded.
They didn't want to fund their system.
They just,
but their system, in fairness to them, that their system was doing better at that time. So they said, well, we can cut back and not fund as much, and now they're in trouble.
So for us to try to bail them out, just like you say, it's not fair for city and county employees to do that.
How do our employees feel about the proposed change?
I think they're all in favor of it, especially as Mayor Shuffle said, we're attached to the Titanic, and we're going to go down with them if we don't. That's just my opinion, and I think it's an opinion of a lot of people. It's the hot topic right now throughout the state, is pension reform. The governor even, created his own personal website to address these issues. I don't know the website's address, but you can get online and see it. It's a hot topic.
I'm going to put you on the spot, and Greg, you've been studying the issue. Tracy, as financial officer, you're aware of the issue, and y'all are employees and in it. What would y'all ask the city as individuals?
I'm in favor. I mean, after listening to the legislators talk and to find out of the is it 32 million in administrative costs? We're paying 23 million of that CRS. Yeah, and Kentucky has
Not
three
getting
boards.
full say so.
Right.
And no say so on investments, which I understand that's been some of the issue too, with investments. I think.
But that's because we pay 23 million because we represent 61% of the employees. You know, so it's that 61% of what they're paying out, and it's the other four systems make up the other whatever it
We
is.
get 0%
We get
representation on any-
0% represented on the investment board, and only 6 people on a 17-man board represent CERs.
And I compare it to Social Security because I keep hearing, I'm not gonna have it when I get older, but yet I have to keep paying into it. So if I'm afraid that I'm not gonna have my retirement in 15 years, I'm gonna be pretty upset. That's how I look at it. Plus the fact that the increase just didn't, I think it was a little over $500,000. There will be no raises. There's no way that because the majority of it is the hazardous. And there's just no way that we'd be able to get raises for a few years because not only would it increase by $500,000 based on current payroll, then it's going to be a percentage, 1% for, you know, just for
Employees,
all employees.
6% unless you're grandfathered in, I think old is 5.
It's 5, 6, and then I think tier 3 might be 7 with 1. No, tier 2 has something to do with 1% health insurance, so they're paying 6% plus.
About a 50% contribution on
Yeah.
non-hazardous.
Right.
It's pretty hefty.
You know, the bottom line is the state legislators don't want to do the job. They're up there in Franklin just piddling around with it. They won't do what they have to do. And I spoke before the Senate Finance Committee several times when I was KLC, and of course they probably didn't like me, but the fact of the matter is they just couldn't do the right thing, and that's why they're in the shape they're in right now.
For some of its investments, it has to invest so much in bond.
Yeah, they did a bad job at that too.
And then the investment when you're putting in almost 50% and CRS is always put in the proper contribution, you still.
The bottom line is they did not do a good job looking after their pension. That's the bottom line. And not making necessary votes to do what needed to be done. And so that's why they're in the shape they're in. And yeah, I'm all for it, to separate the CERS versus KERS. It should have been done a long time ago.
Well, there is some positive news. I think Greg reported that the bill did come out of the Senate with bipartisan support. It didn't get a hearing in the House, so that's what's held it up for a formal vote this past session. If you read the bill, you notice it kept referring to July 1, 2017. Well, that was the assumption the Senate was making, that it was going to pass both the Senate and the House. But it'll be coming back up again, I'm sure. And this resolution, we would want that to go straight to our legislators, Senator Hickton and Representative McCoy, immediately to show them as part of their districts that we favor this change.
I support Senate Bill 226.
And the resolution is actually listed under new business A, the one, the only item under new business. And if you want to take that now, since that's a topic, we can do that, and I'll read that if you'd like.
Any other discussion with Greg on the letter?
Thank you.
Thank you, Greg and Tracy. Then we would, since this new business is direct reference to what we've just been talking about, let's go ahead and move into the resolution then.
R 2017-05 resolution, whereas the city of Bardstown has employees invested in the county employees retirement system, whereas the county employees retirement system is currently funded at 62%, a higher funding ratio than it was prior to the passage of Senate Bill 2, whereas the Kentucky employees retirement system is the worst funded system in the U.S. and was noted by R.B. Coons, Inc. as being set to undergo financial hurdles of persistent funding shortfalls, elevated contribution levels, unsustainable payout ratios, in the worst case in the worst case scenario, the potential for complete depletion of the assets base. Whereas the total assets of county employees retirement system are about $12 billion, 73% of the total Kentucky retirement system's assets. Whereas administrative costs for the Kentucky retirement system have increased 245% since 2000, and the county employees retirement system pays 63% of those costs. whereas separation of the county employees retirement system would result in the creation of a new 9-member board whose sole responsibility would be the management of the county employees retirement system, whereas the current 17-member Kentucky Retirement System Board of Trustees has only 6 seats for county employees retirement system representatives, and the Kentucky Retirement System's Board of Trustees Investment Committee has no representative from the county employees retirement system, whereas separation of the county employees retirement system from the Kentucky retirement systems would mean local control of local pensions and would ensure the needs of the county employees retirement system are met so it can continue its current path of growth for years to come. Now therefore be it resolved that the City Council of Bardstown supports the separation of the county employees retirement system from the Kentucky retirement systems.
Thank you, Tim. We have a motion then to approve resolution number R 2017-05.
So moved.
Motion by Councilman Kelly, do I have a second?
Second.
Second by Councilman Copeland. Any other discussion?
Mayor, I'll be abstaining.
Have a motion then, and a second. Any other discussion? Hearing none, then all in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Council votes. Thank you, Ted. All right, we're jumping around quite a bit tonight. Let me get
Jan's here.
Jan's here now. Okay, we're going into part of agenda item 4, which is paragraph B. Under DRB, we have DRB 249, which is Pleasant Dreams Peddlers Mall. And Jan Johnston's here from the Planning Commission. Jan, we've got a few new council members, and I think this is the first time we've reviewed a DRB at the council level this year, so you might give them some background on how it's come to us this evening. And go from there.
Let me pass out, the top is the actual design standards ordinance, which has actually been amended in 2016. But the design standards ordinance is a city and county ordinance that was originally adopted in 2000, basically in response to the big box retail buildings that were being constructed across the nation. And they were dealing with design standards for retail commercial buildings. So this ordinance deals with new commercial buildings only, not any existing structures, and of course anything outside of the historic district. So this ordinance deals with siding, building design, landscaping, and lighting. The ordinance now allows for administrative review. So if an application comes in the office and it meets all of the design standards, it meets every one of the design standards when it comes in, I do an advisory review to make sure it meets the standards. Then I can call the administrative review committee, which is made up of the either the mayor or the judge executive, depending on what jurisdiction it's in, the development review board chairman or his representative, and then the director of the planning commission. And that committee will review that application in-house, and it doesn't have to come in front of the full development review board and legislative body. If it is found that an application does not meet all of the standards per the review, then that application moves forward to the full development review board and then on to the legislative body for final action. So this is the case we have tonight, is one where I had met with the mayor and the vice chairman in this case, because the chairman had a conflict of interest, and we had some concerns over building design, and that it didn't quite meet all of the design standards with regard to building design. So that's why we're here tonight. It's gone through the DRB. There was some recommended changes and Michael is here tonight, Salzman. There were some recommended changes from the Development Review Board that they agreed to. The plan that you have tonight that I've submitted to you is their changes from the Development Review Board from what you had received and what you have on your iPads. So this is a color rendering of what came out of the Development Review Board. So that's the process. It's either an administrative review process for review compliance, or it is a full Development Review Board and City Council. So on this particular case, this is going on Granite Drive, which is it's the road between where Buffalo Wings and Rings and Colton's is located. It's at the end of end of Granite Drive, to the left. So it's what is called Newtown Plaza, which is where Wings and Rings is. It's directly behind that building. It is a 49,000 square foot retail building for Peddler's Mall. So it's a significant size building. The ordinance is not written in "you shall," and the purpose of that is to give the flexibility for the Development Review Board and the applicant, and for City Council to work with an applicant to come up with something that's compatible with the area, compatible with the community character of the area. There's really no way to write a design standard to meet every neighborhood in the county, and particularly in the city. So the issues with the Development Review Board and the administrative review was this is a very large building. It's 300 feet long on the side facing Granite Drive. It's over the 100-foot requirement on the west side facing Newtown Plaza. So there's some specific requirements as to roof and wall projections when it's over 100 foot in linear length. And that's basically going back to the big box retailers. You want to avoid the old Walmart style buildings of just having blank walls. And so it's to provide some architectural diversity on that blank wall so that you're not driving through and looking at a metal wall. So they've added some. You have some porticos that are on the side. They've added some faux windows. Originally, the plan that you had a wainscot on the bottom. That is, the DRB actually asked them to remove that and replace it with 3-foot wide columns, brick columns, to add some verticality to the building itself. So instead of looking at the length of the building, when you look at it, you see the columns and you're actually looking up rather than looking at the length of the building. So they have shown that on the plan. They added one 6-foot wide column on the west elevation in the middle. You might want to look at that, but it's coming to you tonight with the DRB making this recommendation, and they felt like it met the design standards ordinance. There was an issue with trees that you probably read in the minutes. We have worked with Jessica on that by moving the water line to the city right away, and therefore we're able to get trees and bushes out of the water line, and we're able to accomplish both what the city needs and what the design standards. So by moving the water line, we're able to put those 3 canopy trees in, which are also something to break up that long wall on the streetscape.
I would say I like the changes that were made from the first review we did on the administrative review, and they added the columns. I think that's better, breaks it up better than the wainscot was going to do. Do you remember if there was any discussion why they decided to just go with the one 6-foot column rather than match it up with, it looks like to me you could have put 2 3-foot columns on that south elevation in the front, which would mimic everything else to me.
Now, that's just what with the DRB and the applicant came up with, was that 6-foot wide column in the middle.
Is it appropriate to ask the person here this evening?
You can.
Michael, is there a reason why we went just with the one 6-foot column as opposed to, it looks to me it would be more balanced if everything was matched?
Well, the discussion at the design review board was that the pairs of windows match that way. Doesn't that work? I'm not looking at it, but I think that means you got pairs.
Yeah,
in between every
in
step.
between.
Yeah, that keeps your pairs. So it's a different kind of balance that you're talking about, but that's the balance that they felt was attractive.
Otherwise, you'd have to put those 3 foot in between the windows. Probably.
Right, you wind up with
one
single windows between them on that side.
Is this elevation, we'll see, is this the colors or what colors?
The one you received tonight has the colors on it, has the color rendering. When it got scanned in, it didn't get scanned in with the true colors.
That blue roof's not.
The blue?
That's not, that's.
No. You have the colors in your packet.
This, the printer's not.
The printer's not printing it out,
correctly.
yeah. But it's a dark.
And it's black around the windows and blue in the shutters, and it's more of a earth tone, the siding that looks kind of gray on this. So, and no, the roof isn't that blue color. Yeah, that's not doing justice to it.
That faux window, what's that mean?
It's a fake window, fake shutters.
It's a shut.
Shuttered window.
That material, what would that be made from?
The
It's a
material.
Bahama shutters made out of wood material paint, or I guess I haven't bought it yet. So
It is a wood material now? Or
wood.
So is the siding that gray color?
I don't have the color sample
Yeah, I
here.
got it.
Here's what's on, not bad, but I guess, right here.
Yeah, that's
The
the
trim and
bag,
siding.
right.
Yeah, let me show
But
you.
that's still a little bit off.
There's the siding color, it's like gray.
Which one's better? I'm just curious.
I've had a bad planning commission meeting, so it's probably not a good night for me to.
Don't hope it's there.
Yeah, exactly.
That's the siding.
The roof color it's the trend, it's probably the trend. I really could have gone.
You won't ever see the roof on the ground.
Brick. Shutters.
That's it.
Van. There's the siding color.
See, Vanna White didn't have anything on you.
I'm telling you, my new job when I retired too, that's right.
Jen, what's the zoning limitation on this ordinance then?
What's the?
The zoning limitation on the ordinance, how does this apply to?
Well, the zoning is LIP zoning, which is a mixture of commercial. It's a mixture of every zoning classification I think we have other than residential.
So
But it
this-
has really no bearing
On maybe industrial or,
well, no, I'm sorry, the design standards ordinance wouldn't apply to a industrial zoning at
that
all.
was my question. Thank you.
So, we're actually looking at, still the breakage in the building, like the codes call for, or the requirements are. The brick is kind of doing that, it's supposed to be doing that?
It provides more, it breaks up, the ordinance calls for 60% of the wall to have architectural treatments in order to break up a long wall that's over 100 feet in Money Lane. And so the Development Review Board found that with the faux windows and the columns, and then the porticos, that broke up that long wall.
So those, are you calling this the portico?
Yes.
This angle?
Yes.
Or the other? The angle portico?
They'll have, the sidewalk will run underneath those porticos.
Those, it comes out from the wall more.
Yes.
It's got depth to it.
So it's sidewalk all down the side of it? Is that correct?
So it meets
5
that
foot.
3-foot wall projection that's
Yes.
required for the ordinance.
Right.
And so the recommendation from DRB is to approve this new submittal, which, as I say, it's, I think, much better than the original that we looked at with these changes that were made.
And I guess there's conditions on the trees and whatnot.
He's already submitted the revised site plan and showed the 3 canopy trees. So
Okay, so
yeah, it's all good.
the first condition's all met then, okay, so it just needs to be approved, that, no conditions on it, okay.
So that would entertain a motion then to approve the recommendation of DRB on DRB number 249 from Pleasant Green to Peddler's Mall as submitted.
So moved.
Have a motion, Councilman Kelly, do I have a second?
Second.
Second, Councilman Jones, is there any discussion?
Just a comment. I was kind of a little bit disappointed that where the development is here, that there weren't some rules and regulations for his that development. So materials are, most of these places you go in anymore, they're so much brick, so much this, so much glass and so forth. And was really disappointed to see that all these nice structures are in the front here. And they got really nice designs, where some of them are dictated by, because, it's a restaurant chain or something of that nature, but I'm just not a real metal building lover, especially a building of this magnitude, and I know that really has nothing to do with this, but I'm just voicing my opinion.
There wasn't, I guess, no, there wasn't covenants.
There were no deed restrictions on this property.
That's adult choice, I guess.
Yeah.
I'm assuming cost has a lot to do with that.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Any other discussion or questions? We have a motion and a second. All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Okay. Thank you, Jan.
Minutes approved?
Yeah, I guess, next item on the, would be the minutes from the, it's actually a regular council meeting of August 8th. On the agenda it says working session, but it was a regular council meeting on August 8th. There was one correction, I think. Where we had, motion showed, was it John?
When we approved the travel policy municipal order, we had Councilman Williams making the motion and seconding it, but I think our clerk looked it up and Councilman Shekels seconded that, so I was actually correct. What's presented to reflect that.
Is that a motion? Did you?
Do I need to make a motion? I thought I'd make the motion to approve the minutes with those corrections. That'd be the correct way to do it, wouldn't it be?
Well, I didn't hear the end of that. I thought I didn't know if you said, and I'll make that motion or something.
I'll make a motion to approve the minutes with correcting the second on the approval of that municipal order regarding travel policy to reflect that Councilman Shekels seconded that motion.
Okay, we have a motion, we have a second for the approval of August 8th minutes.
With the necessary corrections.
Councilman Copeland, second. Any other discussion? All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, Tracy, anything to report on the financial report other than the major hit our payroll is going to take next year?
Linda Gray, our auditor, has already started. She'll be doing some field work next month, and I've already discussed with the mayor where she's going to be at, and I hope for a good audit.
And this increase in the contribution rate that they make on the retirement, that's going to be next fiscal year?
That would be, for FY19.
Okay. Otherwise, we'll be scrambling this year.
Oh, yes, we will.
Be scrambling next year, maybe.
Anything else, Tracy?
No, sir.
Then we have a second reading for the 2017-12 on the cable and internet rate amendments.
I'm ready. Ordinance number B 2017-12, an ordinance amending and adopting as amended an ordinance styled an ordinance relating to the operation of municipally owned cable television communication system to provide service to residents and customers within the city of Bardstown and Nelson County, Kentucky, authorizing the expenditure of money from the 1984 bond sale and from the general fund to purchase the system and creation of a department which shall be called the Bardstown Cable TV Department. The City of Bardstown, Kentucky does hereby ordain that Section 5404D1, 5404F1A, 5404F2A, and 5404I, 1 and 2 be amended as follows. 5404 installation and reconnection charges, subscriber rates, and miscellaneous service charges. All subscribers except multiple use subscribers and educational charitable institution subscribers which shall pay the following charges for services as listed. Number 1, basic cable TV service programming charge, strike 712, add 812 per month. A, within corporate limits, strike $10 a month, add $7 per month. B, outside corporate limits, strike $14.75, add $11.75 per month. Effective, strike February 1st, 2016, add September 1st, 2017, the retail rate for basic cable TV service under this section 5404D1 shall further be modified to reflect any increases and decreases in the applicable wholesale programming costs that occur subsequent to strike February 1st, 2016, add September 1st, 2017. Multiple use subscribers, educational, charitable institution subscribers shall pay the following charges for the services as listed. Multiple use bulk subscribers shall pay the following charges for services listed. A, basic cable TV service programming charge, strike $712 per month, add $824 per month. A, within corporate limits, strike 10, add $7 per month. B, outside corporate limits, strike $14.75, add $11.75 per month. Effective, strike February 1st, 2016, add September 1st, 2017, the retail rate for basic cable TV service under this section 5404F1 shall further be modified to reflect any increases or decreases in the applicable wholesale programming costs that occur subsequent to strike February 1st, 2016, add September 1st, 2017. Educational charitable institution subscribers shall pay the following charges for services as listed. A, basic cable TV service programming charge, strike $712, add $824 per month. A, within corporate limits, strike 10, add $7 per month. B, outside corporate limits, strike $14.75, add $11.75 per month. Effective, strike February 1st, 2016, add September 1st, 2017. The retail rate for basic cable TV service under this section 5404F2 shall be further modified to reflect any increases or decreases in the applicable wholesale programming costs that occur subsequent to strike February 1st, 2016, add September 1st, 2017. Cable modem internet service, 1, residential service, strike the following: 6 megabytes per second, 28.25 per month; 10 megabytes per second, 33.25 per month; 20 megabytes per second, 43.25 per month; 40 megabytes per second, 53.25 per month. Add the following: 10 megabytes per second, 31.25 per month; 25 megabytes per second, 36.25 per month; 50 megabytes per second, 46.25 per month; 100 megabytes per second, 56.25 per month. 2, commercial services depend on the number of users and bandwidth speed requested. Commercial customers may rent the modem at a cost of $3 per month or provide their own modem meeting city specifications. The monthly rates for commercial services are, strike the following: up to 5 users at 20 megabytes per second, 53.25 per month; up to 25 users at 40 megabytes per second, 73.25 per month; up to 25 users at 80 megabytes per second, 113.25 per month; over 25 users and/or over 80 megabytes per second by contract. Add the following: up to 5 users at 50 megabytes per second, 56.25 per month; up to 25 users at 80 megabytes per second, 76.25 per month; up to 25 users at 100 megabytes per second, 116.25 per month; over 25 users and/or over 100 megabytes per second by contract. This ordinance, including changes, rates, and charges, shall be in full force and effect following the publication in summary as required by law, and put into effect and collected from and after the close of business on August 31st, 2017, i.e. for bills due on or after September 1st, 2017. This ordinance or parts of ordinances in conflict herewith are repealed to the extent of such conflict.
Okay, thank you, Tim. This is the second reading. Need a motion then to approve the ordinance B 2017-12.
So moved.
Motion by Councilman Williams, do I have a second?
Second.
Second by Councilman Shekels. This is the second reading, so we'll do individual votes, starting with Councilman Jones.
Aye.
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 Thank you. Motion carried regarding the new rates for cable and internet services. Thank you. Thank you, Tim, for that. Greg, anything else? We got reports of staff and committees.
No, sir. Not for me.
They're jumping ship. We were last month.
They did, they left me, didn't they?
And I don't think we have any committee minutes or anything here. Anything under unfinished business? Okay, we've already covered the new business. City council member comments?
Yes.
Yes, ma'am.
I'd like to remind everyone of the Buttermilk Festival this weekend, August 24th through the 26th. It's a non-election year, but I hope to see the council down there and enjoy the festivities. Also, when I went to the conference in Washington, D.C., I was approached about applying for the National Trust. And the process was a very, very, very long application with an essay, so I felt like I was in college again. So they sent me an email stating that they had selected me and that I will get to participate in the Diversity Scholarship Program for the 2017 Pass Forward National Trust Preservation Conference, which is an all-expense paid trip to Chicago, Illinois. Out of all of the 50 states, they only select about 35 people. And I was told that I scored pretty high. So I'm going to represent my state and my city. So I'm very excited, and I just want to thank the council again for giving me the opportunity to go to DC and shine a spotlight on my city and be able to express what we're doing down here and how beautiful we are. So once again, I thank you, and that's it. Thank you.
When is the conference?
It's November 14th through the 16th.
Will you send me some information about it?
Hmm?
Could you send me some information about it?
Yes, I will. Thank you.
Thank you.
Congratulations on your selection.
Thank you.
Yeah, absolutely.
Any other comments from the council members? Cemetery deed, Thomas Barbara Hall for 2 grave sites. Approve that by acclamation. Okay. Announcements. Next Tuesday is the 5th Tuesday of the month, so we won't be having a meeting, I think. Is that correct? So, I know that's making some of you unhappy, but we are going to have it. We are having a meeting the day after Labor Day, so September 5th will be a regular meeting. It will be at 5 p.m. that day.
Will we have a hearing that day?
For the tax rate.
Oh, yes, we'll have to have that, so we probably need to schedule that at 4:45.
4:45 would be my suggestion.
Yes, thank you, Carl, for bringing that up. Yeah, we should have on the tax rate hearing at 4:45, a public hearing, and we'll have a regular meeting at 5 p.m. on September 5th. Any other announcements? If not, then I would ask for a motion then to go into executive session pursuant to KRS 61.810, 1C, discussions of proposed or pending litigation involving a public agency. Have a motion.
So moved.
Motion by Councilman Williams. Have a second.
Second.
Second by Councilman Buckman. Any discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. So we'll be adjourning into executive session once the room's cleared.